When the winter comes, make this note. Just hang on. You know, the winter cannot last forever. There's never been a double winter. Some are difficult and some are easier. There's never been a double night. The night only lasts for a few hours, and then the day finally dawns and the shadows flee away.
Fear is always about that which does not exist. You cannot fight or you cannot overcome that which does not exist.
You want to know what true courage is? True courage is taking the test. True courage is finding out what you can or can't do. You can't keep sweeping what's important aside for another day, because the honest truth is you aren't promised another day. It takes courage to put yourself on the fringe of failure just to determine whether or not you will succeed.
Two paths in life. This is the path I chose a long time ago. It's the lonely road. You're gonna feel alone all the time. You can have a team around you, you can have mentors. Trust me, you'll feel alone. You're gonna wake up earlier than everybody else, you're gonna go to bed later. Why do I tell you that? That way when these things are happening, you'll know, oh, these are signs I'm on the right road. Most everybody else will do this. The crowded road. It's well lit, there's navigational equipment, there's directions, really good roads. The lonely road, no navigational equipment most of the time. It's dark, it's not well lit. There's these huge ups and downs, massive turns. Roadkill along the side of other people who quit on their dreams. Do the thing everybody else does. Listen to the haters. All the stuff they tell you. What's so bad about where you are? It's okay. Any of that sound familiar? That's all the lonely road stuff. You're on the right road. Don't yield.
Believing in your future more than you're believing in your past. Stop romancing your past. Start romancing your future. Stop telling the story of your past. Start telling the story of your future. Stop believing in your past. Start believing in the future. That process is an unlearning and a relearning process. It's literally breaking the habit of being yourself and reinventing a new self.
The problem that most of us have is we think that we're all alone. We think that we're the only ones going through all this stuff. Your vision becomes very narrowed. And I was able to look down at the world, and all of us are jacked up. Some of us hide it better than others, but we're all jacked up. And once you realize that, you gotta come out of your shell. You gotta accept who you are. You gotta accept the demons that life gave you. You gotta be able to look them in the mirror, look them in the eye and say, okay, I'm gonna start fixing these things. But if you think that you're by yourself, the reality of your life becomes very, very horrible. And you're not. We are all jacked up. And once you realize that, man, you don't even look at the crowd anymore. You look at your own race, you do your own race, you do your own thing, and you finally find out who you're supposed to be in this life. So many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch, refuse to study a few more hours, refuse to go deeper, to go further. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Biggest advice is shut off your phones, shut off all technology, find a dark, quiet place for you to think. You have to think first. And then when you think, you have to think, okay, what's my purpose in life? From your purpose, now you found, okay, I found my purpose. What are my goals now? Okay, you find your goals. Now you gotta sit down and plan. Plan, how am I gonna accomplish these goals? Then from there, the hardest part is you have to put the action in.
Push yourself to that point where you feel that the thought is coming back. It's time to rest. And when the mind says it's time to rest, that's the point to keep going. That is that threshold which is going to make the difference afterwards. So discovering your limits on the one side is the first thing, because discovering your limits means you have a vision about what you can do, and at the same time the limit is showing you what you cannot do.
We're all writing a book. What's your book look like? Your life is a book. You got a bunch of chapters in your book, but when they close that book, how good was the book?
Every day, sunrise, sun goes down. So that means there is a up, there is a down. Since we are born, we have inhaled 50% of our times, we have exhaled 50% of our times. Meaning always 50-50. Always the exchange between left and right, up and down, bright and dark, in and out, success and failure.
Our greatest challenge is that we don't know how great we really are, because we still battle with the conversations that other people have had about you. You have to begin to have a short-term memory when it comes to all the negative. Remember that your life is not defined by what others said about you, but it's about what you say about yourself. You got to begin to have a conversation that it starts internally and then works its way out to the rest of the world.
I want you to realize this truth. Perspective is everything in life. And the beautiful thing about perspective is in your control. Nobody else can control your perspective. But when your perspective is your power, you know that things that happen to you, what happens for you? You know the things that are supposed to break you, actually things are gonna build you. You know the failures that happen in your life, actually the failure is just feedback to grow something better in your life.
You think that everything the mind tells you, I need to follow. That means freedom. No, for us, it's the other way around. To learn and not follow what the mind tells you. This is the first step towards freedom.
Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. You got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over.
You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge.
There are many things in this world that we all wish weren't true. There are many things that we want to be that just aren't. The game that you're playing is human psychology. There is no greater control. There is no greater control than control over oneself. Every day that you're working to build something, whether it's a business, whether you're trying to be the greatest parent of all time, it doesn't matter. If you fail to understand that the name of the game is changing yourself, acquiring skills, identifying the gap between who you are today and the person you want to become, and accepting that you can do anything you set your mind to without limitation. So now how you spend that time, what skills you begin to acquire in order to execute against that future vision you have of yourself, that is everything. But you're going to have to be willing to suffer along the way.
That means people will become a magnet to what energy you put out. But you've got to begin to let that flow from your life, from your belief that I am more than a conqueror. I am more than a victim. I am more than whatever I've gone through. Hell, I am more than anyone ever imagined, including myself, because I didn't imagine I'd be this, but I began to paint a picture and frame it with my work day in and day out. Work is step by step. It's how you conquer a mile. You don't get there overnight. It's not all through a sprint. Sometimes it's a marathon. But even marathons might take a year, might take 2 years, but you're on your way as long as you don't quit.
You know, and first and foremost, I think about my life and I think about adversity and I think about opposition. But for the most part of my life, I've been on this quest to figure out how can I work hard for something and my performance is not based upon the outcome. How can I work and my effort and my motivation and my drive is not based upon what the product will be, but more so based upon me taking pride in what I do. And so I came up with this thing called process over product. And what I mean by the process, I'm talking about the way I handle my business on a daily basis and the way I go about every single aspect of my life. I live by this thing called empty the bucket. But what they don't understand, it's an unspoken law, and empty the bucket. It's an unspoken law of accountability and responsibility to me on this earth and my existence and everybody that is connected to me. I may be crazy, but I don't know. I just believe that I'm supposed to give everybody that is connected to me the best version of me.